The moment I saw the tow truck inching toward my hangar, I knew trouble was brewing. It wasn't just any tow truck, a battered, rust-streaked monstrosity with a flatbed barely fit for a sedan, let alone my vintage Cessna 310. The driver, a wiry guy with a nervous twitch, looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. I jogged across the sun-baked asphalt of the small private airstrip in Willow Creek, Montana, coffee sloshing in my hand, as a woman in a lime green visor barked orders from the sidelines. There she was, Deborah Mitchell, self-appointed queen of the Pineview Homeowners Association, a group that had no business meddling with the airstrip's private land. Her arms were crossed so tight I thought she'd crack a rib. Pointing at my plane like it was a rusted lawnmower, she declared, "That junk heap violates our community standards. We're scrapping it." I stopped dead, blinked, and let out a laugh, half disbelief, half survival instinct. "Deborah," I said, setting my coffee on the wing, "you're trying to tow a federally protected aircraft tied to an active investigation." Her smirk screamed she thought I was bluffing. "Oh, please. It's trash. I checked, no registration, hasn't flown in months. The neighborhood voted. It's an eyesore." This wasn't Deborah's first power trip. She tried to fine me for a no trespassing sign on my hangar door last month and reported me to the city for running a business because a few pilot friends parked here overnight. But this was unhinged. I glanced at the tow truck driver. "You know this isn't a car, right? It's an airplane." He shrugged, muttering, "She's paying me, man. But if it's illegal, I'm out." Deborah snapped, "Load it up. It's abandoned." That's when I pulled out my phone and opened the app the NTSB had me install after the incident. A few taps, and the red tag on the plane's fuselage blinked to life, pinging GPS coordinates and logging everything. Tamper with it, and the FAA and FBI would get an instant alert. Deborah's face dropped like she'd just realized she'd stepped off a cliff. "What did you do?" she stammered. I didn't hide my grin. Activated the black box protection. That junk is evidence in a midair emergency near restricted airspace. Touch it, and you're tampering with federal property. The driver backed off like the plane was radioactive. Deborah sputtered about community safety, then peeled out in her golf cart, leaving tire marks on the tarmac. I thought that'd be the end. I was wrong. The next day, my hangar lock was /scratch marks on the keypad, a bent hairpin in the dirt. Deborah strolled by with her yappy terrier 3 times that morning, eyeing my security camera like she was daring me to call her out. I just waved. 2 days later, a city inspector showed up, tipped off by an anonymous complaint about flammable materials. He found nothing but a spotless fuel cabinet and a fire extinguisher twice the required rating. As he left, he chuckled, "You've got a real enemy here." I nodded. "She tried to scrap my plane." He blinked. "The one with the federal tag?" "Yup. She's got nerve," he said, shaking his head. Things escalated fast. One morning, a yellow HOA sticker was slapped on my truck's windshield, citing unauthorized vehicle storage on my own driveway. I peeled it off, laughing, but the audacity was growing. That night, my cameras caught a figure in a hoodie with bolt cutters at the hangar door. They fumbled, triggered the floodlight, and bolted, but not before the lens caught a clear shot of Deborah's 17-year-old son, Ethan, a local troublemaker with a rap sheet for petty vandalism. I didn't press charges. Instead, I printed the photo, taped it to the hangar with the caption, "Smile, you're on federal surveillance." Deborah saw it and nearly imploded. "You're threatening my son," she shrieked. I sipped my coffee. Just documenting, in case anyone else gets ideas. A week later, 3 men showed up with a clipboard, measuring tape, and bolt cutters, claiming a salvage order signed by Deborah as acting district liaison. No seal, no legal weight. I pointed to the blinking tag. "That's a federal order 491C. You're about to commit a crime." As my hangar's siren blared, a black SUV rolled onto the tarmac. 2 NTSB agents stepped out, one flashing a badge, the other scanning the scene with a tablet. Deborah screeched in on her golf cart, demanding, "Why are you interfering with our community?" Agent Larson, unfazed, cut her off. "This plane's under federal investigation. You forged documents and try to move it. That's not HOA business, that's FAA jurisdiction." Deborah's jaw worked like a fish out of water. "It's abandoned." The agent showed her the tablet, GPS logs, timestamps, footage of her tampering attempts. These are encrypted by the Department of Transportation. You're not talking your way out. She hissed, "This isn't over," and sped off. But it wasn't just over, it was spiraling. A glittery cease and desist letter arrived, claiming my plane was a dangerous aviation hazard. Deborah had rallied a few neighbors, spinning tales of rogue flights and toxic leaks. She'd even petitioned the county to rezone the airstrip, but lacked standing. I fought back with paperwork, every forged document, every trespass, every incident, compiled into a folder dubbed Operation Tarmac Takedown. I sent it to the sheriff, FAA, and airport lawyers, filing for a no-contact order against Deborah and Ethan. Then I called the local news for a segment called Neighborhood Terrors. They filmed the plane, the blinking tag, and an FAA rep explaining non-interference laws. The broadcast, HOA versus the feds, named Deborah and Ethan repeatedly. Her lawn got toilet papered that night. By morning, a for sale sign appeared in her yard. But Deborah didn't quit. She sued me for negligent endangerment and environmental harm, claiming her terrier, Muffin, had anxiety from my plane's ghost noises. Her lawyer, a zoning fanatic named Victor P. Langley, was a caricature of suburban litigiousness. My attorney shredded the suit with FAA records and vet statements confirming Muffin's only issue was overfeeding. At the restraining order hearing, Deborah, in a white pantsuit with Muffin in a tiny vest, ranted about oil leaks and sleepless nights. I held up her Facebook post bragging about Muffin's CBD-induced naps. The judge dismissed her claim with a chuckle. Then it got dark. My mailbox was smashed. Tire tracks scarred my lawn. One night, a burning smell led me to smoldering rags by the hangar arson, stopped only by damp weather. Security footage showed a shadowy figure, but I knew who sent them. The plane wasn't just evidence. It held sensitive data from a near collision in restricted airspace near a defense site. The feds were done playing. 3 SUVs and a van arrived, agents boxing up the black box and navigation systems. They asked, "Press federal charges for tampering?" I nodded. She's a threat. Agents served Deborah that afternoon. Her HOA empire crumbled, board members quit, residents demanded elections, and her for sale sign became a desperate plea. But I had one final move. The airstrip? I'd bought it last year from its retiring owner, Mr. Callahan. I'd kept it quiet, but now I published a notice in the Willow Creek Gazette. New ownership, new rules, no unauthorized access. Deborah's golf cart path crossed my land without permission. It was trespassing. She stormed the gate, waving the paper, screaming, "This is a lie." I handed her my copy. County recorder says otherwise. Your HOA's done. Her escrow froze amid lawsuits. The HOA disbanded. Muffin bit a lawn gnome and got a cone. I used Deborah's insurance payout to upgrade the airstrip and hosted a fly-in event, a community that flies together. Kids toured planes, pilots swapped stories, and my Cessna, freshly restored, bore a new name, Deborah's Folly. As the sun set, a neighbor asked, "What's next?" I grinned. "We keep flying. So what do you think? Was I too harsh on Deborah, or did she deserve every bit of it? Should HOAs have any say over private airfields? And how far would you go to protect what's yours? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more wild tales.